Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast tactical video. Today, we continue our tactical series on the Harlequins, talking about the Starweaver. Make sure you check the links down below for more cool content. Let's begin. Hello and welcome to another tactical video. Today we continue to look at the Harlequin series, looking at the next unit, which is the Starweaver, the Harlequin transport and main vehicle for transportation amongst the webway. So this video of course will be in a few parts. First, I talk about the Starweaver and its sort of fluff and a little bit about it. Then we go into the deep nitty-gritty, and then we talk a little bit about in-game in terms of tactics, loadouts, that sort of thing as well. So make sure you stay tuned, and at the end, there's a little upcoming releases sort of sneak peek. Make sure you check the links down below. Support the channel on Patreon. This video is brought to you by the patrons. Support the channel financially. Check the link and the blog where we put up different articles and whatnot. So, the Starweaver. Starweavers streak across the battlefield as a storm of shattered light, relying upon a mixture of velocity and misdirection to confound the enemy's aim. Echoing the sky chariots of the ancient Eldar, these swift attack vehicles have a transport platform at their rear, capable of bearing a troop of Harlequins into battle. Such is the skill of the Harlequins that they can leap over the sides of the Starweaver directly into battle, or vault back onto its platform in a heartbeat should they be needed elsewhere. Even once their passengers have joined the melee, Starweavers remain potent attack craft, spinning and jinking as they pour a storm of firepower into their bewildered foe. So a Starweaver is a mix between an Eldar Viper and a Dark Eldar Venom. It's a transport which is bigger than a Venom and a Viper, but has the same sort of firepower as an Eldar Venom for a few extra points. So a little bit more expensive than your average Venom at 70 points base, or your average Viper at 40 points base, or 50 points with 2 shuriken cannon, which is what the Starweaver is armed with. The Starweaver is base 70 points, and it is ballistic skill 4, like most Eldar, well-trained troops. It has a front, side, and rear armor of 10 with only 2 hull points. So it is a very lightly armored paper plane, which means your Starweaver will die. You have to try and choose where the Starweaver will die. So put them into the right position in order to take advantage of its use, or disembarking its troops. It is a vehicle, which is a skimmer. It is fast, it is open-topped, and it is a transport. So skimmer moves up to 12, takes dangerous terrain tests for your beginning or your ending. It's moving difficult or dangerous terrain, can move over stuff, that sort of thing. It is open-topped, so it suffers extra damage from flamers to the passengers inside, and any vehicle damage is +1 on the vehicle damage chart. And of course, it's fast, so when it turbo boosts, it can turbo boost up to 18 in the shooting phase instead of 6 or 12, depending, because it's a skimmer as well. And it is a transport. And the unit composition is 1 Starweaver. Now, its war gear are 2 shuriken cannons, so 24 inches, strength 6, and they have the Blade Storm special rule, which means on a roll of a wound to 6, they auto-wound, become AP2, so can be really good against heavily armored troops or gargantuan creatures, where they become AP2, which is pretty cool. And it's 2 shuriken cannons. So 24 inches, they have 6 strength 6 shots, and they can move 12. So it's an effective range of 36 inches for Starweavers weapons. They do have holo fields, much like the jet bikes, the Skyweavers. The holo field is a vehicle war gear that provides a 5+ invulnerable save. So a holo field gives them the 5+ invulnerable save, which is kind of like a Venom's flicker field. So they have an invulnerable save, which is pretty cool. They also have mirage launchers. Now, mirage launchers are a once per game war gear option. Instead of using Jink, the Starweaver may activate its mirage launchers, and it gets a 4+ invulnerable save against shooting attacks until its next movement phase. And that really helps mitigate ignore cover weapons, and it's a 4+ instead of a 5+, but it is a once per game thing, which makes it very survivable, especially against ignore cover weapons, for at least 1 turn. So in that crucial turn when you need your Starweaver to stay alive, you can activate the mirage launchers and, you know, hope that it survives incoming firepower. With armor 10, it's highly unlikely that it will survive, but at least it gives you a chance when otherwise there would be no chance whatsoever. It also has a transport capacity. Now, its transport capacity is 6 models. This means it can carry a unit of 5 plus an independent character, or a unit of 6. This makes it a little bit more versatile than the Venom. The Venom itself is smaller, but can only carry 5 models, which means that a minimum unit of 5 can only carry the minimum unit. Whereas with a Starweaver, you can carry a small unit of Harlequins and add in a character, which, you know, adds a lot to the Harlequins' way of war. You can either put in a Death Jester or a Shadow Seer, or even an allied character like an Autarch or an Archon or a Succubus, to really add some close combat punch or psychic punch to the Harlequin unit being transported. Now, with the changes in the 40k FAQs, seems like we won't really be able to use them as dedicated transports for an ally, or starting and like friendly allies in the transport. But you can always jump them in afterwards and kind of move forward, unless they change that. So take that with a grain of salt. Check out what the most recent FAQ is for the game. Last but not least, a Starweaver causes fear. So it's very unlikely for vehicles to cause fear, but against troops that have low leadership and are not immune to fear, this can be very powerful if you remember to have it rolled every assault phase. Vehicles that move count as being weapon skill 1. So normally a unit that attacks a vehicle will be hitting it on 3s, but a failed fear test all of a sudden makes enemy units only be able to hit your vehicle on 4s. Going from a 3+ to a 4+ to hit increases exponentially the survivability of said vehicle in combat against non-fearless or units that don't ignore fear. So don't forget that people are scared of these things. So guardsmen, cultists, even things that have grenades, make sure you don't forget this special rule. Other than that, that is it. The Starweaver is a very simple, straightforward transport that has quite a bit of firepower. And it's very important that there's not really any war gear choices or upgrades. It's just 70 points flat. It's what you see is what you get. You don't really get any changes to the unit. So, how do we use this unit inside of our games? Well, you can either buy them as a dedicated transport for a Harlequin unit, or you can take them as a fast attack choice. Now, personally, if you're going on the cheap, I would use them as a fast attack choice to fill compulsory choices in, say, the Harlequin detachments for fast attack. And this will come really in handy then being able to pick and choose what Harlequin units, depending on how you've equipped them, to put them in the Starweavers. Now, on the battlefield, I would say multiple small units is probably one of the most effective ways to run Harlequins. Multiple small units is a army list building strategy where you rely on smaller units multiple times over. So instead of putting a lot of points into one or two big nasty units, you put a few amount of points on a lot of units and overwhelm the enemy with multiple targets. So a Starweaver fits well into this category because in a basic Harlequin detachment you can run one of these Starweavers for each of your Harlequin troops, which will amount to 3 Starweavers. You can take up to 2 fast attack choices, so you can take 2 more Starweavers as a fast attack choice. And as per ITC, which is the rules we use, you can take multiple detachments, so you can take multiple masks. So if you wanted to run 2 Harlequin masks, you could effectively run 10 of these Starweavers. It is only 700 points worth of your army. And each of those would have 6 strength 6 shots, rather survivable, really fast, really hard hitting. So, play around with it. They are very fragile. So the way I would play them in game, I would try and deploy them out of line of sight as much as possible and use their high speed and maneuverability and to get to where you want to go on turn 1 and 2 to then start doing damage to the enemy. Now, because of their low range of 24 inches, plus their movement, of course, I would try and get the enemy to come to you and then spring at them with the Starweavers. Being able to get within a 36-inch range and then have multiple Starweavers focus on one enemy unit until its death is assured. Now, it's easier to do this when you use terrain and cover to your advantage. What you're trying to do here is focus on an enemy unit, say on this side of the battlefield, while mitigating the damage received from enemy units on this side of the battlefield. So, by negating line of sight or using terrain to stop damage coming from this side of the enemy army, and then focusing on a small portion of the enemy army, you're using combined strength to overwhelm an enemy while reducing the amount of return firepower, which will then keep them alive and then exponentially increase the value of each Starweaver. Now, when in doubt, jink with a Starweaver or use your Mirage launchers to keep them alive. Because every Starweaver that doesn't get destroyed is a Starweaver that's alive next turn that your enemy will have to dedicate firepower into. Now, they are the only transport in the Harlequin army. So, take small units of Harlequins, which is the way I prefer to run Harlequins, run them in your Starweavers and run them at the enemy. But don't be silly with Harlequins. Harlequins are a very elite force. You cannot spend and like orcs and just throw bodies into the melee. You have to surgically strike at the enemy army. So be careful of flamers, because if a flamer hits your Starweaver, it will hit D6 of the models inside, as per the no retreat special rule or whatnot from the flamers. So, just use it effectively and practice. Let me know down below in the comments if you've used a Starweaver and how you would use it. There's also some links down below to the other tactical videos on the channel, so check those out. We've been talking about Harlequins for quite a few weeks now, and all the Dark Eldar and Eldar videos that I have done. This is Skari. That's the end of the tactical video. Become a patron today. Support the channel financially. This weekly tactical video is brought to you by the patrons. So the link is down below. Click on it. Check the blog. There's a whole bunch of different things. And the money raised goes towards more improved content. So I appreciate everyone's support. Other than that, lots of things for the channel up to come. So stay tuned to SkaredCast. And this is Skari, your grateful host, signing off till next time. Skari out.